that's kind of where we realized maybe there's more than just this company. So my co-founder started working on this project called Ferrostar, which is an open source nav SDK. It's designed to be composable, so you can bring the map that you want. You can bring the navigation or the routing provider you want. For instance, you could use Stadia Maps, you could use one of our competitors, you could do it on the device. But what it provides you is the framework you need for that navigation experience. It starts with a bunch of defaults. So if you just drop it in the app, you're going to have defaults that make sense. But then as you need to customize it, there's all the hooks you need to do that. And because most nav SDKs are designed to be used by a single provider, they make a lot of assumptions. They assume you're using that provider for the routing. They assume you're using that provider for the mapping. And so by the time you're done, there's none of these hooks for customization. So instead, we're building something that's starting open source, that's starting kind of vendor and map provider agnostic. And while it doesn't sound very smart for a location platform to create this, where it's agnostic and you can use anyone, we have consistently seen that when you build something in the open, you can do a whole lot more than you could do just with your own resources.
Can you unpack that a little bit more? Is it because you can get other developers jumping in and building stuff on top of it, or is it or contributing to it? Like I think a lot of companies are sort of a little bit reluctant about going down the open source path because you're kind of giving away the keys to the kingdom a little bit, aren't you?
You have to think about what are the keys to the kingdom, because software is fundamentally hard to create. And we ourselves are built on a lot of open source. So we understand the power of open source to create business value. When you look at kind of the building blocks of our platform and many even of our competitors' platforms, it's all open source. And they all exist. We still exist. And there's something there that's not the software, which is where we think there's actually the value in creating the software. So when you start open source, what you mentioned is absolutely true. More developers jump on. When companies have the problem that you're trying to solve, and they're like, well, we can contribute a little bit, they jump on, provide resources, provide engineers, and start building. But it goes deeper than that, because when you've kind of been at the center focal point of building a project, you know it the best. You get to direct how it goes. We're not building this right now as like an open community. We're still kind of the benevolent dictators for life of this project. And when you look at successful open source projects, many of them have had kind of this benevolent dictator for life type entity, whether it's a person or whether it's a company. And you can see it provides a lot of stability, but it also does allow us to tailor it for our customers' needs. And then because we know it the best, what we'll be able to build on top of it, what we'll be able to provide as far as service. Because imagine that you're building a significant part of your app around this navigation SDK. You're probably going to need more support than just a bug report in GitHub or something like that. And so there's a lot of value we can provide that's more than just the software. I mean, you look at Linux and how many companies have sprung up around the Linux core that are billion-dollar companies. There's tons and tons of them. So there's certainly a model that works for open source that leaves plenty of value to be delivered as a business.
That makes a lot of sense. When you explain it like that, it's really clear. I didn't realize you had so much control over it, or how much you can kind of, being a benevolent dictator for life. I love that. Hey, it's Ryan here. If you like that video, please click the like and subscribe button somewhere down there and check out the full interview right over here. Go on, click it. You know you want to.